Good morning everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm playing in my By the Sea journal, which is connected to the Roxy Journal of Stitchery project, Field Notes. And this journal is all about where I now live, near an ocean precinct. So very different to where I've come from. Even my childhood was rural on a farm, and then many years in Brisbane. And now it's like a sea change. So I really felt like I wanted to explore not only my new garden that I'm developing, but just outside the fence line is all sorts of environments. So I did think about doing a plant that is outside on the sand. It's in the daisy family, and it's a succulent and gets a massive big pink flower. At this stage I'm not going to stitch it. I don't know, I can't quite get my head around how to present it. Doesn't mean it won't pop up, because it's definitely the only flower in my precinct and there's a lot of flowers going on. So who knows, maybe there's a prompt coming that will allow me to do just a little bit of it instead of a full study of it. Who knows? I'm just sort of shelving it for the moment. I'm sure it'll make its way. And the other reason that I've chosen lavender is in my front garden bed, I've planted about 6 different varieties of lavender that I've never seen before. Like when I went to the nursery, well, I yibby yabba, I could be getting this ready instead of just sitting here chatting already. I feel very chatty today. Look out. So yeah, when I went into the nursery, I was absolutely overwhelmed by how many lavenders are on the market. Good old humans, they're really messing around with the hybrid side of plants these days, to the point where I've got a white lavender out there and a really bright purple lavender, very much in those colour tones, that real bright. So I just have to stitch lavender, and I haven't stitched lavender probably since I was a kid. It's one of those flowers you try when you're learning to stitch, because my feeling is, you know, Lazy Daisy pretty much gets you a lavender. Some little French knots or colonial knots gets you the little bumps and lumps that are on it. So as for stitching, it should be pretty straightforward. And then the top of the lavender, I want to use ribbons to get those 2 little petals that at the very top of each lavender. But anyway, I'm sure you guys know what lavender is and you don't need a full breakdown on it. So background first. All right, so as you have guessed, I'm going to put it here. I didn't end up getting a bit of a title page. I went straight to the front cover. So this is spare, and it sort of lends itself to being a lavender page because of the colours of the Dutch iris, and the little nest prompt and blooms sort of just took over in there. So I thought I will backtrack a little bit and let's get lavender in here. So inspiration wise for colour palette, I sort of think I'm going to, well, I am, because you can see the fabrics. This is sort of catching you guys up to my brain 10 minutes ago. The lavender has to be the purples and whites. Background, I'm thinking I'm going to focus on that little butterfly. I had a look at what's left in the snippets from when I glued, you know, the pieces of napkin down. I don't have a lot, and it's very French. That might be useful, but the corner's in the wrong spot. Of course, turn it around, Corrine, and you'll get it. Oh, that might work. Sort of would match it in with that page, would look like we have a plan. But we'll get back to that. That's what I'd call the top dressing background. So I've got my little piece of wadding an old piece of calico that I picked up thrifting. I'm running out of calico too. I need to dodge into Spotlight and pick myself up another roll. I cannot get over how much of that stuff I go through. This fabric I've had for some time, and I'm thinking this is going to be my background. Like, how good of a match is it to that? It's definitely in the family. Now, it might all get covered, but I'm okay with that. So let's get ourselves a solid background first. How come everything needs ironing? Goodness me, even my clothes. Like, sometimes I get dressed and I walk to the door and I'm like, oh my goodness, I've just climbed out of the clothes basket. My theory is sooner or later I heat up and the wrinkles fall out. It seems to work. And if you're wearing linen, you're crinkled anyway. If you can get the linen shirt out of the washing machine and onto a hanger, or just a slight dry in the dryer, it sort of looks half okay. And then once you get it on, it might feel like a bit of a board. And then if you wriggle around enough, the wrinkles fall out. Isn't that how it works? I hate ironing clothes. I think I did a lot of it when I was a kid. Dad's shirts, oh my goodness. And his handkerchiefs. Like, what's the point of ironing a handkerchief? He still irons his handkerchiefs. I don't know, I tell you. I was pleased when the tissue was invented. I'm a child of the new generation, it would seem. Just going to trim that little guy off there. That'll give us a background. I hope this is not too much blue. Don't think so. It sort of fits. There we go. Done. Yeah, I think this'll work. I'll just need to create like a pocket. I grab this fabric to just push the blue back a little bit. And then I grab this fabric. I thought maybe I need the 3. I also picked up some bits and pieces, and I've already lost them, that were, here, that are potentially connected to this page. No, that's not even the right. No, that's not the right piece. But anyway, just to sort of get a bit of continuity. So let's have a look at this. Now what are we going to do? Lavender grows out of the ground. Is that a good start? Maybe we need to bring this guy back. And no. See, that's getting that. It's on the wrong side of the book to do that. I think we can create our own ground. Maybe we pinch a little bit off of this. Where should I take it? I do like corners staying intact because they're great fun to edge something. Do I take that? No, I'm not. I'm using the same things all the time because I just glanced up and I've got a new container of lacy bits that I haven't been in for ages. This was thrown together as we were moving house, and just underneath this box was another container of ooh. So I'm going to have a quick rummage through here. Oh, I like that. That was a blouse I picked up. I haven't had you around for a while. Let's just grab a morsel. So you get your container of bits around you, and it pays to just upend it all and add more, because you get sort of into the same bits and pieces. I don't know if you guys find that. Oh, tatting. That should be in the tatting department. throw that out there. Nothing jumping out at me here. There's a bit of all sorts in this one. No. See, they're all very big designs. They're going to overpower my itty bitty pages. Something like that could... No. Shiny. Don't want shiny today. All right, put that container away. Now the next container, which was sitting under it, I've written white lace on it. And already I can see coloured fabric in there. This video might just turn into a rummaging through Corrine's bits and bobs. That's an old curtain. See, sometimes that could be good. No. No. Don't mind this stuff. Those netty little bits. All right, pull that out. Won't hurt to freshen up. Look, white lace. You can really see Corrine's organised. That'd be a pack I got from young Susanna. That's what that is. We'll blame Susanna. Ooh, what's this? Oh, Susanna's got some packs she's putting together, guys. She's going to do a video later in the week. And she has sent me one pack, which is sitting over there, and I haven't opened it yet. I'll do that with you guys probably, I don't know, Saturday, Sunday. We've got to give her time to get it up on the website. Oh, look at some of this stuff. Oh, seriously. Beautiful. So, yeah, if you want to be sneaky, keep an eye on Susanna's site, because she's quietly, no one watches me, no one will know. She's quietly putting packs up. So you might just snag one before we even announce. Oh, look at that. What is that? See, that's a blouse. A skirt. It's amazing what you can find in thrift stores. Look at all those little flowers. I don't think I've even used that. Right, let's grab a chunk. They might be real good in this project. If they were just out under my nose, then I'd use them. Okay, where are we cutting from here? Look at them all. I don't even remember buying this. This must be from a Susanna pack, or I don't know. I've stopped going to thrift stores, to be honest, guys. I'm just not getting anything. I think even Sarah made that comment. Sarah did a video the other day showing what she'd got from the sewing basket. Gosh, I wish they were close to me. Maybe I don't. Maybe I need to stay away from such establishments. That she gets very little from thrift stores these days. I have to wonder if the stock even gets to those stores anymore. They're probably sending it elsewhere, or I don't know. I have a feeling it might not be on their radar. I don't know. I'm not in the hierarchy of how products are selected for their retail sales. Whether someone's at the gatekeeper is sending them elsewhere as they come in the door. I don't know. What else is in here? Like next time Corrine says she needs more supplies, just say, no you don't, just dig a little deeper. Oh, that's one of my favourites. Got a few little doilies in here, but they're a little bit geometric. So I don't mind these. They're a nice dainty plant-like crocheting. Right, that's enough, for goodness sakes. If you pull any more out, you don't even have a container that you use daily to even hold it. Let's just get this out of our way. Now, the other container I picked up is one that has a heap of dyed laces in. Now, they're all modern laces. And I used to get them from a scrapbook shop in Brisbane years ago when I was doing journals. And I was putting them down pages and I spotted that. That, how close is that as a match? And that, maybe there's, the green's not really right. Don't mind that and that. Oh, grab that and that. Oh my goodness. Talk about out of control. Don't even mind that. That's old and it's elastic and it's gathered. So therefore it could make a good garden. Okay, like usual, I've got too much stuff. See how the match of that is? It's pretty good. I think we need to make a concerted effort to get a little bit of that in. Right, focus. We need a background to give ourselves somewhere for the lavender to go up. So is the lavender going to be here, right across, or to the side? Do we want to use a little cotton? Little cotton check. That could be nice. See how the blue is peeking through that? So I already feel like I need to push that back again, which could be done with a lace or something, but it's just too thin. It's not holding its own. It's being influenced by the blue. So I'll just put that to one side. Maybe I need to dig in here. It's something a bit deeper. This is just scraps from our adventures. Yeah, I might use that. Let me just keep checking back to the colour palettes, right? This one I ended up coffee dyeing a little bit too because it was polar white, the tray cloth that was in behind, and I end up going through with a bit of tea it was and drizzling a bit of tea in there to age it. So if I go towards this at the beginning, I won't be, you know, fighting that. I'm thinking I put a swish of this through. Like so. And then maybe I have a bit of this peeking out from under it. Let's give ourselves a decent chunk of it. I don't want to be having to squish up my lavender. I'll go straight to the bottom. I can always trim it off. When you sort of don't know where you're heading with it, you want to give yourself some options. Nice big piece. Then how do I bring this in? Because that's bringing that butterfly's tones in. Maybe I just do a little piece of it off the top here. Such a dirty blue, but where's the short edge? Is there a piece I've already nibbled into? I think this is a Spotlight fat quarter. Let me just snip that there. Pop that away. Yeah, I think I'm going to go to the side and the lavender will come up. So when you open the page, the lavender's right there on that side. So I think I can comfortably trim that off. We can always shorten it if we choose to. Now, what about you? Are you needed? Let's get you down to a smaller piece. So it could pop out from behind. Might balance the page if that. Let's just get it a little roughed up. Okay, so if you go through there, and I could do some camphor stitching or running stitch down there. It'd just give the pop of the, where's my butterfly? Not my butterfly, yes, my butterfly. Where's my other page is what I meant to say. That goes through there. That then goes into there. Yeah, I like that. So let's have a look at what else. I really think we need some grass garden bed. This is not quite the right green. Yeah, I think we're on the right track. Let's have a look at this product. Oh, we got an edge here. See that edge rolling through? That's got potential. Am I in camera? I'm going to get a TV today. I've seen quite a few advertised on Marketplace. I'm going to get a TV for my room. It doesn't need to be a big one because I don't have a lot of space up on the wall. I like that. And then I can project what you guys are seeing up in front of me. There's been a couple videos lately that I seem to be either pulling back to myself or I'm relaxing and I'm going too far out. Like, it's not bad and no one's commented, but I've noticed it. Sort of don't mind that. Lavender Hill. What else have we got here in our stash? Oh, we've got this. Lavender always reminds me of pretty ladies smelling sweet. So I think if I get a little lacy here in building the base up, it sort of feels like lavender to me. You know, those are scented lavender, dried lavender potpourri. Is that, what's the word? Potpourri? Oh, I haven't said that word since I was a kid. I was always picking lavender as a kid and drying it, making it into little sachets with little ribbons on it to sell, to make a few bucks to buy roller skates or a bicycle, something, a cassette player. Oh yes, that was a big day when I got my first double-deck cassette player. Gosh, now I'm going to be going down a rabbit hole with these stories. So my very first plant that I was gifted, and it was just like a treasure, was a French lavender. We had a market stall at the school, and the older kids had propagated a heap of plants, and in amongst it was some lavenders and all sorts of things. And I was a bit of a fan of the lavender because there was a beautiful big lavender in the garden at school, and we were sort of too young to be part of the gardening club yet. That was sort of a couple of years away. Anyway, we had this fun day or whatever it was called, and I wonder if I could do that. Or should I be building from this side because of that stripe and let the air be out here? Yes. I'm going to focus my construction this side of the page. Keep it heavy here, and then it just, yeah. Yeah, so as a little girl, I was admiring all the plants, and I think we could bring a guest. And my guest was my, she wasn't our blood grandmother, but she was very much our grandmother. She was very fond of my actual granddad, but he unfortunately passed and nothing ever came of the relationship. And we always sort of treated her as our grandma because she was sort of part of the family anyway. And she must have seen me admiring these little lavenders. And next minute, I know I've got a gift from her, and it was one of these lavenders. And it was a French lavender. I'll never forget it because I was just enamoured by this plant. I'm just going to pop that bit behind so it looks like it's a bit intertwined, this little garden bed. Yeah, so I've got my lavender in my little mitts, heading home on the bus with my beloved little lavender, planted it, and it grew and grew and grew. We had it, still to the day the farm got sold, like we're talking 20, 25 years. So it's always been a bit of, whenever I build a house and put a garden in, lavender is one of the musts because it's just one of those childhood memories. Just want to have lavender around me. So when this prompt came up and I was like, oh boy, I think it has to be lavender. Where's my pins gone? There they are. They're on the desk over there. Hang on, guys. Just going to jump up, grab the pins. Okay, I'm back. So of course when I went into I had lavender in Brisbane, about 4 plants. They were all French lavender. When I went into Bunnings to have a look at what I could do in this garden, there was just like so many varieties of lavender. It was unbelievable. So once again, I have lavender. They are thriving, which is good. I do need to work out the care of lavender too. My plants get very woody, and I know a lavender farm that's near my dad's farm. On the way to Gameri, there's a lavender farm, and I'm pretty sure, like I haven't looked into it, I'm pretty sure that they cut the plant back pretty harsh and then the new growth comes, because they then have flowers and harvest the flowers for the products that come from, you know, said lavender. So yeah, I need to, I so want to put a bit of that there. This is such a pretty page. No. You know what I might grab is I just looked at my cover and I used some cheesecloth in there. And I'm pretty sure I have some of that tonal, I don't even know what the name of it, chiffon. All right, guys, I need to jump up and grab another box of stuff. Oh my goodness, how does it get out of hand so much? Give me a minute, guys. All right, here it is. I can't even get the container out. It's that. There'd have to be lavender in there. And the other one I want to grab is the cheesecloth. And see if there's something that could be this one. Well, green won't go astray. There's a bit of lavender. Hello. Oh, look at you. I didn't get these from Forage. This was a little bag that had bits and pieces in it. Don't mind that sandy colour. And then down in here might be, so we're talking garden bed. I don't know if I want to pull lavender down into the garden bed, but I do want it to be something. Maybe that. These are pieces of chiffon that drift between colours, which is awesome for what we do. Don't ask me where I got them. I think it was actually a wedding shop supply place. But if you go to Etsy and type in chiffon fabric, you'll come across something, and just have a little look through. See how that goes from that soft green into the orangey tone, peach, and then into the white. They're absolutely amazing. Ooh, maybe we get it out. Get it out. Get that one out too. Look. You know when the magic tricks and you pull the piece of fabric and the handkerchief just keeps going. That's what that stuff's like. All right. Oh my goodness, we've got a mess now. I feel like we need to thicken up the bottom here. I think we can really get into the ground. As long as we stay in these tones, I think this works. So let's take a chunk of that. This is cheesecloth. Just always keep your eyes open for these types of fabrics that are just a bit different. See-through, netty. If you're new to this and you're building up supplies, have a look for some cheesecloth. And if you can come across someone who has naturally dyed cheesecloth, yeah, like that. That's just anchored my page beautifully. So we're making a garden for the lavender to come out of. Just thinking, do we want to swish this in here? Isn't that pretty? I don't even know where I got it from, guys. Oh, look at you. I don't know if I want to bring... I'm going to verbalise what's in my brain. I don't know if I want to bring the lavender down here. Because what'll happen, I think, is I'll put a hint of it, and then I might want to come down here and stitch some little purple flowers or something. And that might take away from the whole lavender. If anything, I'd probably stitch some little daisies with it. So I just don't know. Oh, I don't mind that up there. No, where's my page that it's sitting next to? I feel like I'm heading off in another tangent. Gosh, that's pretty. That's like just a whole nother piece. It's like I've just found something I didn't realise I had. See, look at that. That goes from that. You'll be all sitting there. Do it. Don't do it. Do it. I'm going to use that bit. I feel like I'm getting the neutral and just a hint of the pink. And I might just, because I'm nervous about it, pull it in behind this guy. So there's just that little... No, it doesn't look right. Yeah, I like that. I like that. Okay. Now, I feel like I need to go chunky again with something. That's where maybe we bring in a little bit of this. Where's a bit more purple? Oh my goodness. She's getting braver. She's going to bring purple in. Do I bring purple in? It's not purple, it's lavender. Oh, yeah. We're doing it. I didn't want to do it. Now we're doing it. I'm just going to take a little piece. And I'm thinking we might ruche it. Just to keep it a hint of something, but not something. She can justify it all she likes. Yeah. Just a little pop of something. Needle and thread. Pin first. Let's just get that little guy there. And then what I could do is in front of that, do some stitching of little flowers or, oh, what about these? Do we bring a little bit of green in? No. They're so gorgeous. Oh my goodness, guys. Yeah. Okay, let's just get all this secure. Where's my good old sewing machine cotton? Where's Reg's replacement? Oh, I've got a story. You know how I knot at the end of my needle so that Reg doesn't slide off easily, my really thin little Reg? Well, I was snipping the knot off with scissors to rethread, and then I'm rethreading and I'm like, oh, I can't get this in, I can't get in. I'm sitting there for a few minutes, I'm half watching the TV and I'm trying to thread Reg, and I'm like, why is it not going in? He's a bugger, but he's usually not that hard. Anyway, long story is, I look at it and the top of the needle is missing. So it's no longer got an eye on it. I'd somehow broken the top of Reg's head off. So Reg is no more, but there are numerous other Regs kicking around. So let me tell you, Reg has been replaced. We have a new Reg. I had to go and find his mates and replace him because he is a valuable team member. Even though he gives me attitude. You know what would be nice in along here is beads. Little beads clustered up. But we'll get to that when we get to it. Let's just get this little tuft of lavender fabric stitched down. You can see how these journals chunky up pretty quickly when you start doing texture on your pages with fabrics and laces. Before you know it, you've got a pretty thick surface here. Just thinking back to that little girl sitting on the bus with her lavender in her hands. Them were the days when life was simple. Okay. Yeah, as I said before, I'm heading into town. I'm going to try and pick myself up a TV. So many that I've reached out to that were for sale aren't internet connected. They're not smart TVs is what they say. I don't know if they're smart. And without them being a smart TV, and most of them second-hand, because they're not smart TVs. And sometimes I say, oh, is it a smart TV? Because they don't say that in the ad. They don't even know. And it's like, oh my goodness. So anyway, I've got 2 to have a look at with Gaz. And if we're a bit unsure, well, maybe I just go and see what's on sale in the town of Hervey Bay. We'll probably take our work van in so that we can fit said TV in back. I really would like to go to Spotlight. Like I mentioned, I need to get some calico, but the van is tall and it doesn't fit underneath the building. It's a two-storey building where the car park's underneath. So it's not a good idea. I have covered some of the lace that's in behind there, so that was probably a waste, but that's okay. There's a pin in there. So yeah, there's nothing worse than sailing into a car park thinking you can fit and suddenly you hear a crunching sound. I haven't done it yet, but the van definitely won't fit in the Spotlight building that's in Hervey Bay, so we'll need to either park out on the street and Corrine hoofs it. Just going to pull that down a little bit. It's getting a little bit wild, that. So just a few little stitches in here, just to hold all of those bits. I need to dig that pin out because I think I've just stitched it in. Let's do that next, because we are needing more thread. And don't snip Reg's top of his head off. It's very, very gruesome. Now, where's that pin? There it is. Let's put it there. We could probably take him out. Put that there. And I'll just work my way up the piece, securing things, I think. Then we can think about the lavender. I won't stitch it today because I want to do that another time. But I do need to get my background sorted. And I want to have a look on Pinterest at different ways to represent lavender. Which stitches will I use? And I also want to have a look through Jennifer Clouston's books because I have a feeling there is lavender in one of those. So I need to have a little bit of research. Okay. Yep. That's going to be good. I hope that colour hasn't set my purple tone, like pigeonholed it. If there's a colour that I really struggle with, it is actually purple. I don't have a lot of purple in my stash of fabrics. It's not a colour that I tend towards. And the fabrics I do have, they go from such a range of purple. There's very little lavender. They're all brights and things. So it's very hard to push that tone of purple back in a piece. I might just keep going sideways. I'm going to leave those little bits flapping. I'm not going to stitch them down. I've got plenty of texture down there. That's great. Gosh, I hope that's not too powerful. We'll see. I can always lay over the top of it another piece of fabric. That's probably not the right thing, but I can, you know, we can tone it down. It just, the more I look at it sideways, it's a bit blobby. But we'll see. Plus, if I, say, do some daisies or something, I've got daisies in my mind for some reason. If I do some little white daisies down here, maybe even in ribbon embroidery, that might pop a bit of white, you know, on top of it. So now it's pushed back. We'll see. I shall consult my Jennifer books and see what jumps out at me. I'm positive there's some lavender in there. Jennifer's probably yelling at the screen. There is girl, there is girl. Page, such and such. So I'm just shooting up this side now. I feel like I've got that pretty secure. So while I'm over this side, I'm just going to whiz up here with some little invisible stitches. The other thing I want to add is some text. So I need to consider where all these words sit as well. Put the word lavender across the top here. That sort of feels like it could be a spot. It will all come together. Don't fret. It just seems to happen. The more you fiddle. Who enjoys the thinking the project through phase? I think it's the best bit. The doing, once I've got it nutted out, the doing is just, do it. This planning the layout, I reckon that is the best bit. That's why I think this quilt that I'm making, this lap quilt, is going to be a lot of fun for me, because I get that piecing of fabric, the building of the story of whatever it is I'm, I really enjoy that process. What about you guys? Or is that your struggle? That's where you can waste a month looking at your work going, oh, I don't know. Not. Okay. Okay, I'm just going to rip up this side. We've got tradesmen due any minute too. I've got everything open and ready for them. And once they sort of settle in, we'll sneak off to town, but I can hear bandit woofing. Maybe someone's here. So I'm half expecting a vehicle to drive down the driveway beside me. We've got some containers of stock arriving again this week. Oh my goodness, the year is flying. Santa is sending stock to me for the Christmas season. Each store is getting a huge 40-foot container of gear. Thousands of items to process. So there'll be a real ring around to find who's available, and it's when we sort of start catching up with all the staff again, because we sort of only use our staff in our Christmas stores later in the year. And a lot of them are students or mums, professionals wanting a weekend job. So we sort of catch up with everyone at the end of the year when, the workload suddenly increases and we need all hands on deck. So it's really fun when the containers start really coming in, because our basic crew start ringing around. So it's really cool. It's like, oh, I haven't seen you for a year. How are you going? All those types of conversations. So it's a lot of fun catching up with everyone. And from the first ring around that our 2 store managers did, everyone's coming back. So I don't think there'll be many new staff this year. It's the same gang again. We've got great teams. They're just a hoot. Really good staff. Especially in the upper management. Like, there's some lovely ladies. And some of the lads, they're all, you know, studying to be engineers or doing a trade, or, you know, there's just such an assortment. It's really cool. Then you've got all the young ones that start with us when they're 15. So now they're 16, or they were 16 last year, now they're 17. So we're going through these transitions of these young people growing up into adulthood. And, oh, my goodness, some of them walk in and they've shot up 2 foot. It's like, what the hang happened to you? Or they've discovered the gym. So the previous year they were fine little fellas and then they walk in and they've got muscles, and it's like, is that you, Nate? Yeah, it's great. Oh, we'd be lost without our team. Gaz and I'd be running around like mad chooks. Takes many of us to pull it all off. What is that there? Just threads. Well, I'm pretty happy with that, guys. I still feel like I could get a little bit of something in down here. But we'll see. That's the wrong colour. I think it's going to come down to what happens up here with the lavender. Now, I might do some running stitch through here. I sort of felt like I could run some lines up through there just to add a little bit more bulk to that side. So let's do that next. How are we going for time? I feel like I've been here a little while. 10 minutes. That's all good. Let's catch this. Don't know how much stitching I'll do on that blue. Dots sometimes just need to be dots. And when you stitch over them, the reason you picked them, because they're dots, becomes muddy. And sometimes less is more with dots. Flowers, I'm happy to stitch over them when they're parts of backgrounds, but I get a little cautious with dots. So what I'm going to do is just have a little play with this and do a bit of stitch. Maybe that's enough. That'll be my homework. I did do a fine line. See that there? Just with cotton, one strand purple around there, just a hint. Maybe that's the treatment I give this, just a fine line, or even in here, a fine line. The other thing, which I don't mind, that Jennifer does, is she'll use a herringbone stitch to create a border around. That's another thing I could consider doing. I'm going to let this little blue piece of fabric peek out the top because I like how it just hangs out there for no apparent reason. Keeping my stitches fairly small. Take the tension off there, girl. You've just pulled it too tight. Yeah, keeping the stitches small because the dots are small and the lace down below is fine. So I don't want big stitches. That's good. That'll just be lines and lines of running stitch. I will need to sneak my needle in under all this because I did, oh no, it's not stitched down too much. Oh, that's good. I can still get in under there to continue that stitch down. It's not anchored. There we go. So even just letting that sit free form, you know, nothing on it, letting the fabric do the fabric thing, I don't mind that too. Nearly looks like a bit of old sack, like feed sack, Hessian bag, you know, just floating there. Sometimes bordering it detracts from the beautiful piece of fabric. And there's a hang of a lot happening down here. I don't know if I like that. I'm not going to panic yet. Not that I'm panicking. It's just, it's catching my eye. Maybe once all the, you know, the stitching goes in, that will make sense. But at the moment, it's like, why is there a purple blob on your page? Probably because it's so blue. Anyway, we'll see. The other thing we need to do, which we haven't done on this one, is a colour palette. That's sort of something I want to take through both journals, is the colours. So maybe we do something here and something on this. So that's another thing to finish it off. We could do a fabric one. Let's do a lace one. Look. Let's do a can you hear the cogs turning? I better keep all these bits out because I may not get back to this project for a few days. So I better... My fabric is crooked there. My line has disappeared, so I'm going to finish that off and then go back up to the top and come down again. That'll help keep me fairly straight. This is a number 12 pearl. I could have a finer needle with it because this is a bit thick and it's a, you know, bit of a bit thick to be pushing through all of these layers, but I don't have a lot to do, so it's not like I'm going to do my joints and injury on this little piece. But if I was working a larger piece, I would go hunting for a finer needle that just did the trick. I think my swatch is going to be... I'm determined to use those laces, guys. Unless something happens in the meantime that gives me a new idea, but I did a fabric swatch on one of the other pieces in the journal. So it doesn't have to be paint. It can be... It was even a bead one I think we did somewhere, didn't we? That'd be cool. Hang on. Squirrel's heading off in a different direction. Yeah, see the little bead that I did with this one? That one I used fabric. That one was a little cluster of fabric plus a paint one. Beads would be fun. Beads, see all the beads in this? We'll come up with something. Well, I suppose I better mosey on. Gee, that's crooked. That's going to bug me. It went crooked here. Probably when the squirrel stopped paying attention to what she was doing. Yeah, I suppose I better mosey on. Been watching a lot of westerns lately because Dad's been coming and going from here as he goes through his doctor's appointments and procedures and more appointments, and oh my goodness, I tell you, once you step into the medical arena, you really just got to sit and wait until it's the next thing, you know. It's hard to plan anything until you know. So far all dates are falling okay and we're proceeding along now that they've got him in the system in the big hospital in Brisbane. So hopefully we'll have some resolutions come our way and it's not going to be too traumatic for him. Anyway, sidetracked. He loves Westerns and he has this story that he tells us regularly about being a young lad on his horse in the paddock, minding the cattle. Let's say they're in having a feed of lucerne. And lucerne, for those who don't know, is a plant that if the cows eat too much of it, it builds up a lot of gas. And because they have 3 stomachs, it's not like us that, you know, we have, say, a gassy drink and, oh, here we go. This. Let's hope most have tuned out and have gone off. And it's the diehards left with me here, who know me really well. The gas would leave our body quite easily, follows the system and it's out. But in a cow, the gas builds up in the first stomach. By the time it gets to the second stomach, they're in a lot of pain. And boy, if it gets to the third stomach, oh my goodness, it's on. And this lucerne, you can only feed the cattle for 20 minutes. 30 if you really, you got trouble. And it was always a challenge, you know, if the cattle broke into the lucerne, because it's yummy. Like, well, I don't know, but the cattle, they look like they're skipping when they go into a paddock of lucerne, and a farmer, say that's the paddock, they will section off just a little bit and the cattle can just eat there for a timed amount of time. Then the next week they might go there, you know, as they work through. They cannot go over the whole paddock. Well, they'll tromp all over it, so it's controlled. Anyway, Dad's job as a young fella was to sit on his horse. You can just picture it, barefoot with his straw hat on, sitting on his horse. And he said he used to lay down across the horse. Martha, you'll be giggling at this because you've got Old Blue, your horse. So Martha, she's a fellow YouTuber. She's very familiar with horse lifestyle. Anyway, Dad's lying across the back of this horse, probably 15, 13, skinny little farm kid, and reading Westerns. He said they were really cheap. They could fit in your pocket. They were thin little books, just little Western stories. And that's what he grew up reading. He didn't go for the whole comic book thing. Back then, it was little Westerns. So whenever we get together, we always watch Westerns. And there's some crackers. There's some shocking ones, mind you, but they're just great. They make a change, don't they? Just a good old Western. I don't like the way they treat the women in the Westerns, but I don't know, that might be a bit Hollywoodish-y. But great stories. It's always a bit of cattle duffing and goings on. The bad guys come into town and then the sheriff's got to deal with it. You could just see Dad lying across the back of an old horse. He was telling me one night that he'd snuck a cigarette. He'd rolled himself a tobacco smoke and he'd taken the horse. He was down the paddock watching the cattle. And when he was finished having a few little puffs, he threw the butt of the cigarette into an old tree stump on his way back up to the farmhouse. Probably about an hour later, he could hear his father and mother yelling, there's a fire in the old tree stump. So he was busted. That cigarette butt had taken, you know, a light. And then he had to explain how a fire had started in that tree stump. Oh my goodness. just picture it. My father's got a bit of a cheeky way about him. Now here's another one. We were going for a drive back out to the area where our old farm was. And Dad was in the car, I was driving, and I'd taken a mate from Hervey Bay for the day for a drive. And we said, oh, come on, Dad, let's take Sue out to where the old farm used to be, and Dad's very original farm when he first married Mum, and then the one that I grew up on, the dairy farm, small crops, Lucen Farm. Anyway, we're heading back towards town, and there was a house, an old house there, and it used to be an old school. There were many little schools around the place out there. And this one, and I'd forgotten that actually. I'd forgotten that used to be a school. And Dad had done, I think, a semester there. They were in between selling farms. So he was going to that school, which was a good ride on the horse to get there. And then when the farm was, when they were all settled in, the new year was going to be the schoolhouse that was closer to the farm. But this particular semester, it might have been the last semester of the year. I don't know the exact details. Anyway, they had a bring your pet to school day. So everyone was bringing chickens, cats and puppy dogs. My father decided he was going to take a potty calf, so a young cow. And normally he would ride a horse to school because it was probably about 5k up the road. And this day he's like, I'm going to take a potty. He had a little Jersey potty. Could you imagine? It'd be so cute. If you don't know what colour a Jersey cow is, just Google it. I won't tell you. You're going to see their faces and go, oh my goodness. So picture this little farm boy walking along with his little hat on, probably barefoot, guaranteed barefoot, maybe shoes. No, he would have been barefoot, walking along the road to this school with his little Jersey cow potty on a lead. He didn't win. He was most disgusted that he didn't win Best Pet. Someone else did. And then he had to take his little Jersey cow home at the end of the day. His face just lit up telling that story. I'm pretty sure I've heard it before, but, you know, you forget these things. So it was lovely to hear it. And Sue's in the back seat, just cacking herself laughing. She's looking at this old house that was once the school and the road and the environment, and we could just picture this little fella trotting along the side of the road, leading his Jersey cow. I did ask him how old he was at the time, but I can't remember what he said. It wasn't he was young. He was in primary school. He was only a little fella. All right, in all that yibby yabba, I have stitched that down. At the moment, I'm leaving everything floating. I will decide on the work around here. I do have a bit of white peeking up here because of my stitching has pulled the blue fabric forward. So I might just trim that off because it's bugging me a little bit. I know I'm a bit bigger than the page, so I won't miss that. There we go. So that'll fit nicely there. It's not crashing into anything. Yep. Oh, that's good. It's good that it's blue because you've got a blue front. If that was, say, orange, you'd have this orange peeking through. So I'm a bit of a fan of having a look at your surroundings and making your page complement what's nearby, or if not, the next page a little bit. You don't have to be matchy-matchy all the time, but it doesn't hurt. All right, guys, I'm going to chuff off. I'm going to pack up this mess I've made because I think we've got a plan of attack. But I am going to keep those laces handy because I feel like that's going to be my colour palette. But I think I can get rid of all of this because it's just exploded. All right, guys, I'm going to toddle off and I'm going to catch you in the next video. Have a great day, guys. Bye.